what happens when you're at the top? Everybody wants to take you down, right? If you want to be at the top, you got to play like you're at the top, okay? We can't be inconsistent. We have to work, okay? Because everybody is going to bring their game, their top game to you, right? And if you can't elevate above that, that's where we're going to fall.
Welcome to the game of the week on the SHL Network as we get set for puck drop between the Stevenson Patriots and the Wake Forest Scouts.
Hey, get your numbers up. I had to get my numbers up. Now I got it like they gave it to me. But I took it, they ain't give it to me. She really do it to me.
Got a break in the middle.
God knew it for me. Yeah, it really fit. It's a shoe-in for me.
And the game is over. The Lake Forest Scouts will improve to 10-7 in the SHL.
Welcome to Alumni Memorial Fieldhouse for the home finale for your Lake Forest Scouts. He's Mike Napolitano. I'm Aaron Shellen, and today the Scouts welcome in the York Dukes. Lake Forest coming off a 1-0 win here at home. The first shutout of the year for Logan Marsh was spectacular in that one. The Scouts come in 13-9 with an overtime loss. They're in 7th place in the SHL, while the Dukes come in. Really, it's an important spot for them as you're still working on seeding here, Mike, to finish up the regular season. The Dukes are tied with Loyola for 3rd place in the SHL, 13-5 with 4 overtime losses. The Dukes have won back-to-back games, including a game out in Glenbrook North that you and I covered a couple of weeks back, so this won't be our first time seeing this Duke squad. And again, Lake Forest coming off that 1-0 victory against St. Ignatius last time out. So
somebody's win streak is going to end here today, and this will basically conclude at least the home side of the season, as you mentioned, for the Scouts as they get ready for playoffs. And as you mentioned, seeding is ever so important right now. Lake Forest sitting with 27 points. The Glenbrook South Titans right above them with 28, and also the St. Ignatius Wolfpack. So that 5, 6, 7 little stint of the bracket of the table is up for grabs there. So 2 points tonight for GBN could be huge, but as you mentioned, it could be huge for the York Dukes as well.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking to, not that you're trying to avoid anybody, right? You'll play whoever's put in front of you, but if you can avoid St. Viator in that first, I guess, game of the playoffs, as the Lions are 19-5 on the season, or New Trier come in 18-4. So if you can end up in that, 4 or 5 spot, you put yourself in a pretty good position in the first round. And you see Lake Forest wearing their alternate jerseys that were, I guess, worn for the first time during Pucks and Palms back in, when was that?
That was November.
November? Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Right before Thanksgiving or right after?
Right before. Yeah, we were talking about these jerseys before the game because we've been trying to figure out the color. You said tan, and I think that's good, but I likened
beige.
I likened it to coffee with some cream in it.
I like it.
Yes.
I like
They're sharp jerseys. They really are, with the kind of the gold or mustard yellow color around the waist, the dark blue pants with the blue lids, and
let's hope the Scouts stay as hot as coffee here tonight and get a couple on the board early.
We've been here all day, Mike.
We have been.
When I say all day, I'm not kidding. I pulled up to Alumni Memorial Fieldhouse at 8:28 this morning.
Feels like we've been hanging out with the Robbins family because we saw Nate Robbins' younger brother in the morning game for the Falcons, and here we are going to see Nate Robbins.
Yeah, we took a tour of downtown Lake Forest today. What was the name of the restaurant we went to?
That was the Lantern.
Yes, we went to the Lantern twice today, actually. So we finished that. We finished the Central States game at
10:30?
Yeah, at 10:30.
Yeah, head on over for some late breakfast, early lunch. Get some work done at Starbucks. Head on right back for the Patriots and the Broncos, which your Patriots are now moving on to the Super Bowl, but we're underway here.
They certainly are. Yeah, Patriots won 10-7 in a very snowy Denver. That game, the weather conditions in that game deteriorated in a hurry
Yes.
As Logan Marsh makes his first save. Marsh on the season 10-9 with a 2.18 goals against, makes his second save, a .929 save percentage. Here's a shot from the point, deflects into the corner.
We'll see.
Getting knocked down is
we're
Jack
gonna get a
Passion.
first
Yeah, we're going to get a
penalty
penalty right out of the chute here on the Scouts. I think it's going to be a cross check on Lake Forest, and it's going to be Bobby Rolick going to the box.
Just got that stick up high enough for the cross check, and referees are quick to spot that right away. This crew has been out here earlier today doing the JV matchup that we saw on this same ice surface. So you talk about snow conditions out in Denver. Hopefully this ice is ready to go. We got a good resurfacing, but
I mean, it's been cold.
used all day, and cold temperatures outside tend to lead to a little bit more shavings. If you've ever built an ice rink,
Which you have.
Yes, you know that the colder the temperatures, the more shavings you'll get. You get that harder ice that feels a little bit more like outdoor ice. I wonder if that's kind of the case in this building. You get that warmer ice, it tends to be a little bit mushier. It almost kind of feels like skating on a pillow.
Skating on a pillow. I like the way that sounds. Probably doesn't feel all that good. It's probably not easy.
If you fall, it doesn't feel like a pillow.
No,
I'll tell you that.
That's true. New York working the puck around. That shot's wide. Cleared back to the point and out by the Scouts. A minute 24 left on the power play. This is Spano walking across the blue line, ripping the shot off the left pad of Logan Marsh. And now Esplin able to backhand it deep.
It was a good clear from Esplin to get that puck deep. Allows his wingers and his defense to change on the shorthanded attempt.
This is Campusano throwing it cross ice, looking for Spano. Passed too far out in front of him and hammered the length of the ice by the Scouts. York will try again. Now, last time we saw York, it was a 3-2 overtime win over GBN. That was in Northbrook, about 2 weeks ago, I guess? The 11th, I think? Does that sound about right?
Yes.
As a big hit. Yeah, Luke Pasquazi running through Anthony Pacenti, and
that puck got thrown out of play at the same time into the bench, so that's what the whistle is for. But that very well could have been an injury situation. Thank goodness it is not.
Look at Pacente. He's favoring that right leg here a little bit.
Yeah, not sure if he was just checking to make sure his steel was still in the blade holders, but he's also cheating a little bit on the draw right there. Referee had to make sure that he was outside of that circle before he dropped the puck, but hopefully, yeah, not an injury for sure. We'll see if York can do anything with the remaining 25 seconds of their power play, which they snap a shot in on goal, and that one is saved by Logan Marsh. He'll cover up for a whistle. 14:49 to go here in this first period. 21 seconds remaining on this Dukes power play that had the zone for the majority of this power play. That power play unit 1 did a great job, but they eventually get the puck cleared out on them, and they haven't really been able to get this power play back going since.
One back to the point here, far half wall, feet out in front, Passion. That shot is ramped off the stick of Jack Rancourt.
Good stick by Rancourt in the slot there. Yep. Tough area to really allow a pass to get through, but you got to make sure your defense is in front of the net. Make sure that Marsh isn't the only resort when it comes to stopping that puck.
Draw to the left of Logan Marsh. One back to the point. D to D, shorter over to Pacente. His shot through. Marsh stops that one. Now deep with it. Griffin Hayes overskates it a little bit, gets it back. Being bothered by Jake Maricini, and now out. Power plays up. Puck is flipped forward for Nate Robbins. You mentioned we saw his little brother in the Central States game earlier this morning. Behind the nets, Robbins, Esplin, Catalano, the top line for the Scouts. Esplin throws it towards the goal. Robbins not able to tap it out of midair. It's cleaned out to center ice, and now York has it. Campusano, and that'll catch a Scout player on the bench. 13:55 left. Still no score.
Esplin had to dig that puck out of a couple of defenders' skates back on that offensive rush, and was able to do so. Couldn't get the shot to go towards the net cleanly, but a good opportunity for the Scouts there, and you see them continuing to be physical in front of their own bench there. That puck goes out once again as they're once again laying a big shoulder check.
Hit along the near half wall, 5 players over there, and that is high off the glass and out, and icing is waved off. Back to play it. Sean O'Leary will throw it around the far wall, not able to keep it in are the Scouts. Rancourt, that's in the feet of Torelli, the shot up over the left shoulder of Logan Marsh. York keeps it in now in the near corner.
High danger chance for sure for York there on the turnover, and you just see a streaking to the net York player that was trying to get a license plate on that one. Seems like number 2, but I don't have a 2 on my roster.
We'll see what he looks like when he goes by us. Here's Altunian taking it wide, shooting it wide. That's Andrew Papadopoulos, yeah, and we're normally wearing number 28, rocking number 2 here this evening.
Didn't catch that in warmups, but he made sure to make his presence known with that breakaway opportunity. Marsh with a nice save to keep this game level.
Draw will be to the right of the York goaltender. I believe that's Levi Brown in net for the Dukes. We saw Peter Kalianis against GBN a couple of weeks ago. Brown 7-4 with a .256 goals against. Save percentage right at about 90%. Kept in at the far point by Bobby Rolick. Rolick takes a shot from the far dot, whistles it wide. That'll come all the way down into the Scouts' end. Playing it here is Spano. He gets bumped. Valenti. Draw pass for Carter Savage, number 26, into the near corner. Up and out of the attacking zone. Marasini. This is Fafinski. His shot goes wide. Mitch Fafinski, the Duke's leading goal scorer this year, has 11 tallies. Off the glass and out.
Not the man you want picking up the puck, heading into your zone and racing through the slot.
Savage back to play it behind his own nets. Shots are 4-1 early here in favor of the Dukes, but 3 of those were in about the first 45 seconds of the period. This one doesn't make it through on Marsh. Skating forward with it is Grady Strothman. Strothman takes the shot that goes wide, comes off the back of the netting, and then Strothman with a hit on the backside. Ezio Berrettini on the forecheck. And the puck is iced by the Dukes with 11:45 left in the first. Still no score.
We talk about that top line from York being out there. Fafinski, a huge part of this offense out there with Jack Passion. He's got 10 goals and 10 assists, so he's right behind him. He leads the team in points, but Fafinski right behind him with those 17 points and the team leading 11 goals.
Yeah, 4 players on this Dukes team with at least 8 goals on the year. Spano with 8, Ethan Moore with 9, Passion with 10, Fafinski with 11. So some balanced scoring for the Dukes. As Preston Louis loses his stick, and Luke Pasquesi now into the offensive zone. Drop pass for nobody. Oh, huge hit behind the play by Preston Louis. Absolutely dropping Sanfilippo behind the play. You could hear that one before you could see it. And Strothman takes a bump to play the puck deep.
That was massive from Preston Louis.
Patrick O'Leary along the near wall. Getting hit from behind is Strothman. We're going to get a penalty on York as Sanfilippo looking to extract a little bit of revenge on somebody in that tan-colored jersey. And unfortunately for him, that was a hit from behind. So the Scouts will go on what is a very, very deadly power play.
Preston Louis is not even on the ice anymore, and technically that's him drawing that penalty right there, because you get Sanfilippo fired up enough, he's going to make a mistake. That's exactly what happens there. Got a little too aggressive, wanted that retaliation, and here comes the opportunity for the Scouts.
Michael Catalano, 11 goals on the season. 7 have come on the power play. Thomas Esplin with 4, Nate Robbins with a couple. So very, very good power play for this Scouts team. Marasini will walk up the wall with it. He'll shoot, slide through the paint, and come out into the defensive zone where it'll be played by Tommy Esplin. Esplin out there with Catalano, Rancourt, Marasini, and Nate Robbins right through traffic. The shot in, the save, the tuck, the jam, a couple of whacks at it, and holding the net is Levi Brown.
Great A opportunity for the Scouts. You almost thought that Tommy Esplin was going to run out of room when he passed the goal line, but finds a man as the trailer in the slot, and power play almost gets one on the rush there rather than getting set up. But now they're going to get an opportunity. Actually, this faceoff looks like it's coming out of the zone. So instead of the power play getting an opportunity to have a faceoff in the attacking zone, it's going to be right outside the blue line. They'll have to re-enter.
Robbins, Esplin, Catalano still with Rancourt and Maricini out there. Those are your 5 skaters for the Scouts. Still a minute 26 left on this power play. Down the near side with it is Michael Catalano. He overskates it, and it's fired out by the Dukes.
Off the glass and out from Brown. That's just textbook. That's what you want to do on a penalty kill.
Jake Maricini walking right up the middle. Maricini onto the backhand. Swings it back, tipped away from Esplin, and that'll come out to the neutral zone. Now Nelson. Gavin Nelson tries to clear it in as his forward line goes for a change, but gives it away, and that gives Compasano a chance to kill some more time. Now Strothman whiffs on the attempted clear, and Compasano again will dump.
Really good shift there from Compasano. He's going to go off to the bench. A couple of rolling pucks even sent towards Marsh, but just playing away from your own net on the penalty kill is huge. It looks like the Scouts have iced it on their power play too. So once again, a player not even on the ice anymore, kind of getting in the heads of the opposition as Compasano. 2 huge clears in the neutral zone to get that puck deep, and the Scouts frantically just throw that puck into no man's land. They ice it on their own power play. They have 24 seconds still on this man advantage, but they're going to have to get out of their own zone here as the faceoff comes to the blocker side of Marsh. 9:17 to go here. This puck is won by the Scouts, and they'll have to set up behind their net. Speeding up with it, Strothman at the blue line. Louis sends that puck in. Finds its way along the half wall and finally cleared back out by the York Dukes.
Squeezy can clear it in, and that'll do it on the power play. Berrettini tries to dump deep and can't. It's thrown into the offensive zone for the Dukes. Nelson trying to flip it for Cal Eggers. That pass is behind him. It hits the linesman right in front of us.
Linesman gave a little shove to Nelson there to get him out of the way. There was nowhere for the linesman to go.
Little tap forward for Spano, but too far out in front of him, and Pasquesi will go D to D with it. Cleared forward, too far ahead of Gavin Nelson and the Dukes. They'll fire it in deep. Keaton nicks into the near corner. Pasquesi rolls it around for James Altunian. Back to Pasquesi. Hard up off the boards. Milliman tips it in a little bit deeper.
Picked up down low there for the Scouts. Almost opportunity in the offensive zone, but just nothing doing. It comes right back by this linesman who's just standing there. Man, I think that one rattled off of his bucket as well. The official just getting abused along the wall there. York's going to pick this back up in their defensive zone and go D to D. They'll move that puck all the way back up, and it's dumped back down into the Scouts. And the Scouts have had some trouble entering the offensive zone. A lot of it has to do with the stretch passes in the neutral zone. This one will get down by the York goaltender, but unfortunately not in the hands of the Scouts. Long shot from the point doesn't get through. Clearly it'll hit the netting, and we will be having a face-off to resume play here. 7:12 to go in this first period. And the Scouts, as I mentioned, struggle to get into the zone, struggle to get that offensive zone set up, and just trying to dump pucks in without icing things. But they'll get an opportunity to the blocker side of that York goaltender on the Duke side of things. So
Levi Brown. Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, yeah. No, go ahead.
Stephen Valenti will take the tries out there with Savage and Rolick.
York able to clear their own, and Maricini back in. Levi Brown comes out to play that one. York calmly out of their own zone.
And they come here with it. Patrick O'Leary for Brown. Good defense there by the Scouts. Whipped over to the near wall by Rolick, and now out to center ice. A lot of neutral zone play. The Dukes had 3 shots in about the first 30 seconds of the game. They only have 1 since. This has been a pretty tight to the vest first period here, Mike. Neither team really with a great opportunity on either side.
I mentioned the Scouts' lack of offensive zone entries, but the York Dukes haven't had the cleanest time in the neutral zone either. They've had nice D-to-D passing, but as soon as they get into that that neutral zone, the Scouts have played a nice defensive game as well, just pinching off the boards and forcing York to just dump pucks deep and get their opportunities on small, minute mistakes, whether they be turnovers, but not a whole lot of high danger chances like we saw at the start of this game.
That was a giveaway there by the Scouts as Jack Patchen throws it towards the goal, and they'll get an offensive zone draw as Marsh will cover up. Draw to the left of Logan. And the last time we saw Lake Forest, it was a 1-0 win over St. Ignatius. It was a power play goal. Michael Catalano, the only goal of that game, and Logan Marsh made it stand up. You certainly don't want to make a habit out of winning 1-0 games, right?
Definitely not.
If you can do it every now and again, great. Getting pushed up against the corner boards is Nate Robbins. Puck gets away from Catalano and out. This is Mitch Finsky taking it deep now, cut off there. Finsky gets run into by Esplin, and it's cleared out by the Scouts. 5:44 left. That's just hammered the length of the ice, and Picenti's hurt. We were talking about this before the game. We didn't see him in the game against GBN. He wasn't playing in that one, and he took a hit earlier in the game and looked like he was struggling, and right there he was in his own zone, and he just slap shotted the puck the length of the ice for icing and went immediately to the bench, and
he was holding his
laboring
arm.
Yeah,
so I mean, earlier we saw him grabbing the skate blade, maybe lower body injury off that collision that sent him to the ice, but I think there's something upper body there that could be nagging him.
Passion comes out to the neutral zone. Torelli, to Rancourt. Rancourt is able to clear it in. No icing as that puck gets through Pirati. Now opposite corner, Strothman going over for it. York has it here, thrown to Passion. Passion with skater to his right. William Brown instead chooses to shoot. And now Brown tries to come off the back wall, and nothing doing there. Strothman over to Berrettini. Ezio's backhand directed wide by Brown. Now York up the near wall. Rancourt steals and fires it right back in. Sean O'Leary now D-to-D. Passion, Jack Passion, across the blue line, tries to stick handle through. Nice job by Michael Torelli to get that stick down. And now behind the net, Cal Eggers one hands it into the neutral zone. Milliman shovels it over to the far side right in front of the Scouts bench. It's backhanded deep. And the Scouts will take possession with 4:20 left here in the first period. A scoreless between the blue lines first period. Not much offense for either side. Shots are 5-3 in favor of York. Dukes are able to clear that one out, and Daniel Anaya will go back and play it. Anaya drops it for Milliman. Milliman being bothered by Luke Campasano. Now Anaya up the wall. Cleared to the neutral zone. Pretzi. Maurer. Campasano's shot, and he scores. Wow. Top corner, Luke Campasano gives York a 1-0 lead.
I was just thinking about how York had run that play a couple of times, that D-to-D pass along this near wall, and they just couldn't figure out that pass at the blue line to get sustained zone pressure on the Scouts in the offensive zone. And as I was thinking it, they get that pass done. They find Campasano, that extra little bumper pass over to him, and he walks in and wires that one top corner. Nothing Marsh could really do on that one. Beats him near side, though, of course, so one that he would like to have back. And next thing you know, it is 1-0. York had just had a really nice shift previous to that with a lot of good forechecking in the offensive zone. So the Sticks are active when they get that offensive zone time. They were just struggling to get that final pass in, and on that one, they got it. Cross-ice pass right there. That could have been dangerous from York as well. Luckily, the Scouts will pick up in their own zone and go up the wall with it. Still not out.
Now skating into the attacking zone. Down 1-0 as that's blockered away by Levi Brown.
Bobby Rolek hammered into the glass right there as his back was to the glass and facing the man that was about to lay him out, which was Spano right there.
It's cleared in. Valenti will take the shot. Left pad save. Brown. Now Spano gets double teamed. He loses the puck. Past Squazy. We'll shove it around the far side for Gavin Nelson with 2.5. Nelson into the feet of Robbins. Nate will play it there. Backhanded forward.
There's that top line from the Scouts. Robbins to Esplin. Really nice puck movement, but just nothing doing on that shot.
Sanfilippo has it deep behind the net. Papadopoulos, he loses it. Preston Louie into the offensive zone. Louie through some traffic, and Brown makes the save.
It's a good idea from Louie. Just throw pucks at the net. We talked about that in the earlier game, that there is, reason behind that cliche is, you're going to get good things happening, whether that is a puck sneaking through the goaltender's mitt, finding its way to the back of the net, a rebound opportunity, or in this case, you've got an opportunity at a face-off in the offensive zone. So you win this, you get some offensive zone time, and you can maybe even up the game.
Near half wall, Strothman will clear it opposite corner.
Good pressure by the Scouts at the blue line to keep that puck in.
You got to see them put a little bit of pressure on here, right? We haven't seen a ton of offense from this Scouts team here over the last month or so, and sometimes you got to take some chances, maybe a little bit more aggressive forecheck, and try to turn the puck over. Shot through.
There's a whistle and a cover-up from the York side of things as Levi Brown able to glove that one. But yes, the forecheck, Aaron, it's what the York Dukes are doing to Lake Forest. So you'd like to serve them a little bit of their own medicine and kind of mimic what they're doing. And you've seen that they've had to go D to D a number of times to get that stretch pass into the neutral zone. So if you can snuff out that D to D pass and get that high pressure going like the Scouts kind of already have had, you can cut off the rush before it starts.
Compasano's shot in, looking for number 2, but that one ends up in the right arm of Logan Marsh.
1:09 here to go in this first period, and we're going to get a face-off to the glove side of Marsh. We'll see how York elects to set up. Looks normal, so not a quick shot necessarily coming from this power play. Trying to win this back to their defense. If you're Lake Forest, you want to put this in the corner. They won't be able to.
Karati's shot deflects over to the far half wall. Now behind the net. Push back to the point. Pirati near point through some traffic. Marsh with the left pad save. Under a minute left now. Skating off the wall is Hayes, and it's swept out by the Scouts. Racing back for it is O'Leary. Passion knocks it back into his zone, and that's thrown the length of the ice, and icing's waved off. So Anaya for Savage.
One final rush here for the Scouts if they can dig it out of the corner. A couple of players collide. A couple of fans wanted to call there. A tough blocker save from Marsh, and then he gets run over on the play. Gets up in time to make the save despite the calamity. And oh boy, what a sequence right there. Marsh being able to stay up though and make that final save with the glove despite he had a tumbling over Griffin Hayes in his face and still somehow got back up to get the rebound. Scouts with just about 30 seconds to go in that period, had what looked like an opportunity to go around behind their net and exit the zone, and that got quickly stopped by this Dukes offense.
That was impressive. Marsh getting back to that after getting taken down, being able to have the wherewithal to get up and get back over to that far post to make that secondary save.
Hayes looked at Marsh like a bowling pin and somehow not able to get a full strike there as Marsh gets right back up. 8 seconds to go here in this first frame.
It's cleared into the attacking zone, down to 4. Catalano will fire the shot into the body of Levi Brown as the horn sounds. So a first period goal by Luke Compasano, top corner, gives York a 1-0 lead. We'll be back with second period action here in just a moment. Back here, second period action. York 1, Lake Forest nothing. Shots are 10-7 in favor of the Dukes. And really only one, I would say, high danger opportunity for either team that came for the Dukes, and it ended up in the back of the net.
Maybe a second on that breakaway for the Dukes earlier on in that first period. I don't know if you'd count that bowling pin opportunity towards the final minute a high danger.
Where you take down the goalie. I mean, I guess if you can knock the goalie out of the net, it makes for a pretty easy goal. Yeah.
It probably would have been whistled dead if the puck did cross the line there. But yeah, as you mentioned, just that one chance separating these two teams.
Compasano, let's talk about pinballs that pinballed in on Marsh. For Compasano, that was his 5th goal of the season. Behind the net, Nelson hemmed there into the near corner.
Oh, that one took out the legs of the
the linesmen have been have seen their fair share of contact here today as well.
Yeah, it's
Ezio Berrettini for Grady Strothman tries the return pass. Strothman getting stick handled back to the point. Pasquesi.
Somebody must have said it was open season on zebras today.
Hunting season is open for zebras. Ezio Berrettini now in the near corner. Do you need a hunting license to hunt zebra in Illinois?
But with how cold it is outside and even inside in here, I would think that it would be too cold to go out hunting.
I actually have some friends down in Missouri. That shot through a screen and cleared out again. Hits the linesman.
Yeah.
I have some friends down in Missouri as that one is iced, who are out hunting right now, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
We were talking about Missouri earlier today as the Falcons were playing a team from there. And they were saying they were getting about 13.5 inches of snow.
Yep.
So, or 13.2 to be exact. So,
yeah, that's a lot of snow.
That's a lot of snow to be out hunting in. We'll see if the Scouts can do their own hunting here. They had a really good chance, probably their best of the game on that last rush. They have a man Savage lined up in that shooting position. But what's weird from the Scouts is that man encroaching in the circle on the offensive zone faceoffs is the outside winger rather than the inside winger. So it's almost like they're looking to tie up the centerman and have a winger step in to win the draw rather than get a quick shot off of a clean win.
Outlet pass here, Carter Savage. Savage drags, and his shot will make it up into the screen as Passion and Bobby Rolick get into it well after the whistle.
Yeah.
Sticks came up, as they say.
A couple of cross checks exchanged after the whistle had gone, and the puck was already up in the netting, so I think there was just encroachment on each other's personal space in the corner, colliding into the boards right there. So no harm, no foul. We'll play on here at 5-on-5. Referee giving an earful to both sides. You could actually hear it. This crowd went quiet for a moment.
Yep. And that's, I like that. I like when a high school official doesn't just make the play, call the play, and end the play. Like, there's still a lot. There's still a lot to learn for these young men. And when a referee, even if it's a stern talking to, just I don't want to see that nonsense or whatever it is, I like that. We're going to have a face-off here to the right of Logan Marsh as Scouts went across the red line when they cleared that in. So it'll be an icing. It'll be Papadopoulos on the draw against Robbins. It's won by York, shorter down the wall.
Running into the official
again. They're just in the way. Are there more officials here than we normally see?
No,
Papadopoulos' shot into the left arm and glove of Logan Marsh. It feels like there are more. Yeah, there's 4. It feels like there are more. 15:03 left, second period. 1-0. York with the lead.
Gotta wonder if everybody's just asleep with how cold it is outside.
I don't know. The cold makes me more
alert.
Alert, yeah. Heat makes me sleepy. You get me nice and warm, and and I can. I'm at that age where I love a good nap. I'm gonna be 50 in 10 days. So.
Oh yeah, happy early birthday. Well, I'll see you before then. But
you'll see me lots before then. But yeah, I love a good nap. Especially when it's nice and warm, sign me up. I got a big hammock in the backyard. I'm a big, I got to be, during baseball season, I'm in Rosemont every day. I got to be at the ballpark by 2 or 3 in the afternoon. There's some mornings where I'll just go out onto my hammock at like 10 or 11 in the morning and just lay there and close my eyes. And I love a good nap.
Am I at that age? Because I could use a good nap. I like a good nap. The cold, I guess when you're in it, it gets you energized. But after long exposure, that'll zap me. I guess it depends on what you're doing. And if what you're doing is playing hockey, you might be the Lake Forest Scouts over here as they're trying to enter the offensive zone once again. Just a dump and chase opportunity.
Back out there's Anthony Pacenti. Hopefully he's doing okay. It looked like he's been struggling throughout most of the afternoon/evening here as the Scouts just walk forward with the puck. And Brown covers it up as Eggers, Altunian, and Milliman are hacking and whacking at the puck in the crease.
That puck was still loose there for an extra moment. So good on the referees to not blow that whistle right away. See a little explanation being given to Levi Brown, but the Scouts were there on the doorstep, once again crashing the net. I won't say it's the best chance they've had because we kind of saw that earlier, but the offense seems to have started moving a little bit more for Lake Forest in a way that York is taking exception to, especially when you get around the goaltender. So you see a couple of sticks after those whistles come up high.
Draws one by the Scouts, but taken away by the Dukes. Out with it now is Sean O'Leary. He'll throw it off the pads of Marsh. Louis with another huge hit. Preston Louis throwing that weight around here tonight. That is 2 huge hits. And is he going to go? What did he do?
Preston Louis. No, it looks like there's going to be a penalty on York. It looked like a retaliation, but it wasn't on Preston.
Yeah, Louis, that was we've seen 2 very clean hits from Preston Louis today. And
oh, are they taking a scout?
Looks like they are
taking a scout.
They think they're taking Strothman, yeah.
I think Strothman is arguing to the referee that he wasn't even the one who laid the hit. And are they taking him for the hit?
I don't think they're taking him for the hit. It had to have been something after the hit because there was absolutely nothing wrong with that hit from Preston Louis. At any rate, the Scouts will be shorthanded for 2 minutes.
Well, Preston Louis lays that big hit. The puck still finds its way to Logan Marsh, but it once again kind of pinballed around. He was able to track it with the glove, and I wasn't able to see what was going on with Strothman behind the play there. It must have been a little bit after the whistle. York will start up on the power play through the neutral zone. And a shot, and they score. York with an absolute rip from the high circle.
William Brown. That's 2 impressive tallies for the York Dukes here this evening, Mike. Those are goal scorers' goals right there. Nothing cheap about either of those. It's 2-0 Dukes.
That was quick. The rush was just developing. Another shot perfectly placed over that glove shoulder of Marsh. And I said it the first time, I'll say it again this time, not much he can really do. I mean, you have to be absolutely glued to that corner. That was just a perfectly placed shot once again, and York has extended their lead. 2-0 here with 13:40 to go in this second period.
Well, now, if you're the Scouts, and turn the pressure up defensively here, try to get a turnover. Hasn't been much offensively for Lake Forest here. 9 shots through the first period and a half. There's a nice hit by Michael Torelli. Here's Carter Savage. Savage can do it. Got a hat trick this season. We saw him tally a goal earlier this year as well, but just not a lot of offense from the Scouts when they're playing 5-on-5. Kept in at the point smartly by Rancourt. He'll walk up the wall, getting fought by Christopher Pretzi. 2 to a side in the corner. Camposano and Krebs, or Rolick come over, excuse me.
Rancourt's got him pinned into the glass, into the boards, but you got to watch that elbow and that hand that comes over freely. You don't want to put your team at shorthanded once again. You saw what just happened, and being down 2 now is going to be a little bit deeper of a hole to dig yourself out of. Puck comes all the way back down. Torelli gets a little response from Spano.
Now Berrettini in the far corner. Behind the net, Marasini with 12.5 left in the second. Knocked down there. Pretzi goes to a knee, and now Berrettini into the attacking zone with Valenti. Marasini at the near point is able to keep for the moment. And that puck is in skates, and Marasini hitting Hayes. And now Valenti with Marasini on his right. Tries to throw it through for Jake. Tipped towards the goal, and Levi Brown will grab it for a whistle.
If I'm Valenti on that one, I'm just going to rip that puck at the net. You have a winger coming down with you. You have one defenseman in between you two, so the pass lane is mostly cut off. If you shoot a low shot along the pads, either that is going to come back to you, the best case scenario, find its way into the net, catch the goalie off guard, or it's going to find your winger on an angled redirect pass off the pads. That's what they call POP, pass off the pads. And you get a rebound opportunity for the man you were originally trying to pass it to. Looks a little bit more selfish. Looks like you were always intending to shoot, but you might have been just trying to get it to your guy using a little geometry.
Yeah, those low, hard shots, right? It's, you know, those the low ones are the hard ones for goalies to not just stop, but stop and hold on to.
That one comes up and hits the netting, so well, the face-off, I believe this is going to come back into the neutral zone because that's where it's originally shot from, but yeah, I mean, you just got to, if you're Lake Forest, throw everything at Levi Brown at this point because you got to climb out of this hole and at least cut the lead in half by the end of this second period.
The Scouts have 11 shots on goal, but nothing...
Doesn't feel like it.
Right, nothing that you would say, you remember that shot, that was a great save made by Brown. It's been pretty easy stuff for the most part, so they got to figure out a way to get somebody open in a danger area, and...
You said it kind of right there. That's where the shots on goal differentiate from high danger chances.
Yep. Here's Hayes getting bumped by Milliman. They both go down, get tangled up behind the play.
York fans wanted a call on that one, but both players took themselves out of the play by holding on to each other, so we're going to play on.
Milliman and Hayes continue to bump. Now Passion gets dropped along the far half wall.
And they're holding each other behind the play. We might get something out of this. Milliman's still sitting on, trying to get his stick out from underneath the arm of Passion.
They were tangled up for a good few seconds. Now Passion steals the puck. Marsh makes the save and covers up, and now we got all sorts of stuff going on after the whistle.
We're going to have some chaos here.
Yep, you got Hayes and Milliman continuing to go at it in the net, with Hayes losing his helmet, and then Passion and I think Luke Pasquesi getting into it along the far half wall.
I'd be surprised if we don't get anything out of this. We've definitely got to
We'll get
maybe a couple offsettings at the very least. But, yeah, behind the play was the key word in that entire rush. You had Milliman just leaning on Passion right in front of the York bench. And, I mean, albeit he was holding his stick, but you can't really just lay on a guy.
Yeah. Milliman going to the box. Hayes should be going to the box as well. He is, and it looks like that's going to be it. Matching minors here for Griffin Hayes and Jack Milliman.
You talk about timing your hits. We've seen a couple of hits from the Scouts even tonight that have kind of taken them out of position and still allowed York to get shots off. But that wasn't just timing hits. That was timing your antics behind the play, because that puck did get turned over for the York Dukes in the offensive zone, and a point-blank shot that Marsh had to control while, for lack of a better term, all heck is breaking loose.
Yes.
In front of him, behind him, along the glass. So you put a lot of pressure on your goaltender while you're trying to wrestle behind the play. And they're lucky that they will be... Looks like we got 2 in the box for the Scouts, though. I'm not sure if there will be a power play put up on the board there. Referees are still talking it over. Looks like only 1 in the box for York.
Still waiting for him to put something up on the board here. If there's 2 in the box for the Dukes, then, or for the Scouts, and the Dukes, there we go. There's the penalty up on the board. 2 minutes.
And Jake Maricini looks like, no, 79, excuse me.
Well, it's Milliman, yeah. Milliman got the penalty, is getting an extra 2 minutes here for something.
Yes. Not sure who that, it looks like, trying to catch a license plate on who else is sitting in the box with him there. Is that a 51?
I can't see. My eyes aren't that good, Mike. I'm gonna count on you to tell me.
I can't even see the numbers from here. So even zooming in with the camera, I'm not going to be able to pick those up. He's kind of just right where that partition meets, and I'm only seeing the 1 number on the sleeve. Looks like a 1, though. And we'll continue with a face-off.
Oh, there's 2 penalties up there. Okay, they just took one down. All right, so they
yeah,
put
I was
up.
Going to say,
So Gavin Nelson is getting 2 minutes here.
Yeah, I thought that was Nelson. Yeah, 51.
So Milliman and Griffin Hayes get matching minors, and then Gavin Nelson also gets 2 minutes. So the Scouts are now down a man with
10:53 here to go. Yep. We've got 2 officials still talking things over behind the play here. It's the 2 striped officials, the referees. Linesmen are waiting to drop the puck.
Face off to the left of Marsh. It'll be Esplin and Ethan Maurer.
And we've got the penalty box calling the referees over again.
Apparently we're not ready yet. So we're going to give them a second here to settle things down. Scouts down 2-0 in the second. Okay.
All right.
You heard Mike say it. We're good to go. Face-offs won by the Dukes. Far half wall with it. Brown back to the point. Shot through. Goes just wide. Pretzi pinches, keeps. Tries to walk up the wall. A little bit of confusion there with Maurer. Now has it. Goes back to Spano. Far side Brown. Back to Spano. Shot from the point. The puck is loose. Spano far point. Pretzi near point. Gets it right back. Now Brown. Far circle. Marsh blocker save. Hit there. Pretzi near half. Spano. Over to the far side where it's dumped deep. Pushed around the near corner, Pretzi. Back to Spano, shot through some traffic, and ooh, thought that was gonna go 5-hole, but it was covered up by Marsh, and we got more whistles. Game's a little feisty tonight, Mike.
Feisty indeed, but a lot of that is the frustration from the Scouts not able to touch that puck. York with a really well-oiled power play right here. We saw them score that second goal on a previous man advantage, but York does a nice job of using the upper umbrella to really push that puck into a shooting lane, and then when they do, they know when their wingers are going to collapse on that net. Now, if you can't push that puck in through Marsh, I should say, the main goal is to cycle it along the boards, and as soon as you see one of those wingers get tied up, a second one is right there. So really nicely done by York to then swing it back to the point, basically, and start it all over again.
Still 46 seconds left on the power play. Spano gives it away right in front of his own net, but he's able to clear it into the corner. Brown gets hit by Pasquazi. Preston Louie gives the hit and clears the puck. Now right up the other way. Here comes the Dukes. Maurer into the attacking zone. Ethan Maurer will take it deep. Back to the point. That's Pacenti. Shorter shots through, goes wide. Chopped that, hits Berrettini in the face mask and comes out. Cleared in by Brown, but right to Luke Pasquazi. Luke will fire at the length of the ice. That'll bounce off the back of the net. It's played there by Mason Shorter. Power play is about up. Power play is up, and out of the box is Gavin Nelson. Skating deep, the draw pass, the shot by Keaton Nix, and pretty save made by Logan Marsh.
Marsh had some help from his defenders right there, sprawling out to try to sweep that puck out of the crease, and it still found a York stick, so Marsh still had to clean up the dangerous chance.
Behind the net. Tapped into the near corner. Krebs back to the point. Pasquazi. Pasquazi's shot is deflected. Savage's shot. Excuse me, that was Valenti's shot. And we got some more stuff going on now down at the other side.
Yeah, Nick's got in the face there of the Scouts, number 97, Bobby Rolick, and basically threw him down into the ice. Excuse me, I'm not sure if that was Rolick or if that was, I believe that was Valenti that he threw to the ice. I think Rolick was coming in support of his teammate, and I think we're going to get a power play here for the Scouts after there was a little bit, and it's not going to go on Nix. It was the second man that threw him down there, Shorter. And the Scouts will now get an opportunity on the man advantage for themselves.
Yeah, they're 0 for 1. They've got a very, very good power play, as we've talked about. That first power play wasn't what we've been used to seeing from this Lake Forest team, but now would be a great time to pick up that first goal. And it'll be Robbins, Esplin, Catalano, Maricini, and Gavin Nelson out there.
Valenti was hanging around that back door, had just a stick's length away from putting that puck in, but really nice work from Levi Brown to cover that up and get the whistle, but all the antics that ensued after that, the Scouts will earn themselves a power play. So you see that top line out here, Catalano, Esplin,
and Robbins.
So
we got a goalie.
We have a goalie serving a penalty
box
for the York Dukes.
That's Oscar Piz, their backup goalie, is sitting in the penalty box. Robbins on the draw.
Centers are tied up on that one.
Cleared out by the Dukes. Marsh will direct it over for Catalano, who will start up ice behind his own net. Michael Catalano through the neutral zone. Dump, go get it himself. Knocked away from him, cleared back to the point. Nelson keeps. Flips it to the near point. Maricini's able to keep. Nice drop pass, Catalano. Then his pass is deflected up over the head of Maricini, and Nelson will have to go back and play it.
Maricini tried to jump to keep that one into the zone, but no luck.
Maricini gains the red line and fires it in. Stopped by Brown.
Huge hit from, I think that was Nate Robbins.
Shot in, blocker down. And out with it comes Esplin. Tommy Esplin now going east to west, gains the blue line, hooked off the puck, now has it deep, still has possession, now loses it. Robbins in the corner, sweeps it back to Maricini at the point. Back to Robbins, near circle, cross ice pass, one-timer. Comes out the other side, Preston Louie is on the back door. Louie will play it here, 37 seconds left, back to the point. Shot through the deflection by Robbins, just too far, too high up in the slot there for Robbins. And now a one-on-one, Campusano fires it over the crossbar.
Trying to go glove side on Marsh again.
Robbins been out there the entire power play, so he's got to go to the bench. Just 14 seconds left.
Of course,
Preston Louie again with another huge hit. That's a trio of monster hits by number 48. He'll stop the puck here. Fires the shot off the right pad of Levi Brown, but no tan-colored jerseys there to do anything with the rebound. Now to Strothman. Grady Strothman will dump it opposite corner while the Scouts go for a change. 6 minutes left.
Strothman was coming on for Robbins. Of course, the puck found Robbins. He throws that puck on net, and then it finds Preston Louie. And it's Strothman who came on for Robbins that is streaking towards the net, but the rebound from Louie's shot just doesn't bounce off the pads the right angle for them to get the rebound.
Swayze tries to play the puck right at his blue line. It's kept in by York. Now Milliman. D to D past Swayze, right back to Jack. Milliman tries the far side. Dumped in as Rancourt's pass to Milliman. I don't think Jack was able to get a piece of it, so we'll have an icing called, and the officials throwing somebody out.
Yeah, on the York side of things, I'm not sure what the argument would be about if York is getting an opportunity in the offensive zone now. Not sure what that was all about. York's in the offensive zone with an icing call that we thought may have gotten touched by the Scouts. So.
And a two-goal lead.
And a two-goal lead. I mean, I'm not sure what there is to be upset about. Both officials, actually a third official now coming over to talk to the York bench. Fourth official is getting ready to drop the puck, but I mean, the only thing I could think of is maybe some of the hits that Preston Louie laid, they thought may have been calls, but everything seemed to be clear for me. So we'll get a face-off to the glove side of Marsh. It's where he's been beaten twice today. You saw the Dukes doing their homework and coming down the wing even shorthanded and still going for that glove side. Not that Marsh has been bad tonight, but they've beat him twice on that angle, and they want to try to exploit it again. That's just good gameplay right there. Officials still talking to the York bench. Not sure what's going on here.
Yeah, it's weird. You don't normally see this sort of thing where your team is leading. And, I mean, you know, I could get on my soapbox here and talk for hours
Yes.
about the behavior of parents at youth sports games. But when your team's up 2-0 halfway through the game, like, one thing I always try to teach my kids is to pick your battles. Right. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. I'm not going to talk about it at all. That's the behavior of people.
We got time.
Yeah,
it seems like they don't want to drop this.
The
puck.
behavior of people not playing in the game is a problem at all sports, at all levels, in every game. So this is nothing unique, but that puck is cleared into the bench.
We did see some of that as we were waiting for this game to start in the previous game coming from the opposing side. So maybe this referee crew didn't want anything carrying over from the previous contest, even if it is a different set of spectators in the crowd. But either way, they've had proper control of this game as far as I could see on both sides. That puck is just rifled into the bench from O'Leary. Going after his own teammates.
Hey, you got to be careful there. You don't want to go after your own coaches. You could lose playing time that way. Right? You take out a coach or something, you got to be careful there.
You see O'Leary just kind of getting a talking to from the bench saying, hey, shoot it at the goal, not at your own teammates. Just a thought, just a little bit. Now just trying to clear that puck into the offensive zone as it snuck back out into the neutral zone. So good, smart play from the defenseman. Just couldn't get the boards, only got his teammates.
Eggers with the shot. Ooh, Cal Eggers stealing the puck and trying to go glove side, short side, but nice glove save made by Brown.
Yeah, it's a dangerous height for a shot because it's just above the goaltender's pads and not high enough to where, you know, a guy like Levi Brown would normally be holding the glove. So either your glove's going to come down and make contact with your pads and sometimes even bump your own hand away from making the save, or you've just got to make those two pieces of leather meet and hope to stop that vulcanized disc of rubber. Dropped unfairly, so we'll redo that face-off. Robbins stepping in for this one. Tommy Esplin on the wing. We saw the last draw in the offensive zone here at this dot. The center's tied up, and usually the Scouts had their winger nearby to step in, but that wasn't the case. This one won cleanly, though, by York. Not able to clear, though.
That's flipped up off the back glass. Under 5 minutes left here in the second. Robbins, Esplin, Catalano out there for the Scouts as they try to get back within a goal. They're down 2-0. Catalano steals it behind the net. And York, that's played with a high stick.
York doesn't want to touch it. Neither do the Scouts. York will touch and just let that one go for a face-off and a whistle. Honestly, if you're Lake Forest, you actually might want to touch that puck and play it. I know it's in a dangerous zone sitting right at your blue line, but you don't want any more seconds to tick off the clock. And if York is not going to touch that puck, you want to make sure that you get either the play going in your favor again or a whistle, because time is of the essence when you're down 2. Esplin off the draw. Shot wouldn't go through.
Down to 4.5. Robbins separating Campusano from the puck. Now here is Campusano coming down the near wall. Cuts to his right. Tries to stick handle through. Good defense there by Jack Rancourt. Up to Robbins. Nate down low. Come out the near side with it. And he'll dump it deep, but nobody there but green jerseys.
He had a man at the point, but nobody was communicating that he
Give away the shot at the far point by Carter Savage. Looked a little like number 8 for the Capitals over there at the half wall with that one-timer going to his knee.
Yes.
But just couldn't finish. A little Ovi action there. Now Passion. He'll fire the wrist shot right into the body of Logan Marsh, who makes the save.
The York fans were screaming for too many. I did not see 6 skaters on the ice for the Scouts. There was a change happening, but I think everybody got off cleanly, and York had possession of the puck. So not really going to call that unless that 6th man gets involved in the play. And the Scouts make sure to stay with the right amount of numbers.
Puck in the corner, 3.5 left. Puck is cleared. Bobby Rolick taps it in. O'Leary. The Scouts into the attacking zone. Pasquesi not able to play that. Valenti has to go back to Nelson.
D-to-D pass that actually went in front of the net. Could have been a little dangerous, but the Scouts are across the blue line now, and Savage a shot from the point that had to be kicked, saved by Levi Brown.
So a little bit of life from the Scouts offense here down the stretch in the second period. Not enough to get through Levi Brown, but certainly better than what we saw in the first half of the period. And looks like we're going to get an offsides or an intentional offsides called here on the Scouts with 2:45 left.
Actually, I think this is going to be an offside. I don't know if the Scouts had the red line as they were sending that in, and both York fans and the York bench were up in arms for a call, but the call was made. So this faceoff is going to go into the offensive zone for them. Whether they're calling it an intentional offsides or an icing, yes, there was still a man in the zone. This is the period of the long change here in the second period, but either way, they're going to get the the whistle. I'm not sure what the argument could be. This is going to be picked up by the Scouts in their own zone. Preston Louis.
Yeah, Louis had a good game as he tries to bulldoze his way through.
He's bulldozed through a lot tonight.
Yes, he has. He's played really well defensively, very physical. He's right out in front.
That backdoor pass has worked a number of times for the Scouts, but here comes the York Dukes the other way.
It's cleared out.
O'Leary will regroup defensively. Spano, a little bit of a ramp pass that just gets that puck deep for the Dukes.
Berrettini behind his net, up the half wall, kept in over there. Spano with the spinorama backhand through the paint. He gets knocked down, and we're going to get a penalty called on the Scouts.
Yeah, Strothman, I guess, just got a little too much of him from behind, so Strothman's going to sit for 2 minutes. The puck was leaving that area anyways off the pass, but Strothman just got a little ahead of himself, and it'll send the Dukes back to the power play. They'll get their opportunity here. They still have that backup goaltender in the box. I think he just hasn't left. He wasn't there to start the game. We've seen that.
No, he went in there during that those plays behind the bench or behind the play.
We've seen that before where like they don't have enough room on the bench if they have an extended bench for the away team.
I love it when you see that in the NHL and the goalie has to sit like in the hallway.
Either in the hallway and they don't want to come back out like the St. Louis Blues not too long ago against the Blackhawks.
Was it Binnington they couldn't find, right?
Well, Binnington didn't want to get pulled.
Right.
And they couldn't find, I forget who that backup is.
Is it Hofer? Joel Hofer?
Oh, Hofer, yes, exactly.
One of the members of our broadcast crew, Joe Williamson, a big Blues fan. I wonder how he felt about that.
As a Blackhawks fan, I'm guessing he didn't feel too good because I believe the Blackhawks were winning that game by a lot, thus the need for the goalie change.
Not a big Jordan Binnington guy myself, being a Bruins fan. 2019 sticks in my head.
You and I can shake hands on that one, that's for sure. This puck is flipped all the way back out.
Puck is cleared in with a minute left.
Picked up by Robbins. Good hustle there to realize that it was played by the goaltender. It wasn't going to be icing anyways, but not able to do anything in the offensive zone, so they'll have to regroup shorthanded, but just killing time off the man advantage for York.
Puck is cleared out with 43 seconds left. Spano has it. Pass too far out in front of its intended target. Cleared back in. That's knocked down either with the high stick or the arms of Pretzi. That lets Hayes take control of the puck. Now down to 27 seconds left. Spano tripping Valenti, and he's going to go to the box, and we're going to have some more pushing and shoving. This has been this is only our first year doing Lake Forest hockey, but I don't know. It feels like maybe there's a history. I don't know that there is, but it feels that way, right?
Possibly even just between these two teams this year, but that was the classic can opener right in front of the benches. I don't think the officials are going to miss that one. They've called it both ways for the most part in this game, and yeah, you get that stick and you get it in the midsection, you yank and you pull, and you're going to head to the box for 2 minutes. So 36 seconds of 4-on-4 time, but we only have 23 here to go in this second period, so that'll carry over into the final frame. We'll get a fresh ice surface by then, and then it'll be a power play for just under a minute 30 for the Lake Forest Scouts. Much needed.
Yeah, the Scouts got to get one. Maybe not here in these 22 seconds, but you get that clean ice right in between periods 2 and 3. That's pushed over to the far side. Catalano, tried the return pass to Robbins, but the shot goes wide. Now Catalano out in front. He was looking for Maricini, and it's lobbed out, and that'll do it for the second period. So a better second half of the second period for the Scouts, and once again, some more pushing and shoving in the corner. Passion and Pacente are getting into it with Robbins, who has a few words for 7 and 12 in green, and that'll do it for the second period. Better second half of the second period for the Scouts, Mike, but they got to break through in the third. They trailed 2-0. Mike and I will step aside here for just a couple of minutes. We'll be back with third period action here from Lake Forest. Third period action here from the Alumni Fieldhouse. Lake Forest and York. Dukes with a 2-0 lead. Goals by William Brown, Luke Campasano. And yeah, the final, I would say 7 or 8 minutes of that period, much better offensively for the Scouts, but now you got to get one, right? You gotta take that positivity and find a way to break through here early in the period. They'll be on the power play right now.
Yep.
We're on the power play for the next minute and 22 seconds. And
ideally, you get one during that 4-on-4 right to start the period, but there were only 13 seconds of that, so kind of tough. But you at least want to dictate the pace, start with the momentum on this fresh sheet of ice.
Catalano goes over to Esplin, who tries to return the pass. Catalano has it deep, throws it out in front. Oof. Catalano sweeps it through the paint. Robin's shot hits O'Leary out in front, and then the next shot is deflected over by the far point, kept in by Pasquesi. Luke will chase it down, but that top line is changing, and it'll come all the way down where it's played by Marsh. Marsh for Louis.
Not sure how that initial attempt didn't find its way into the back of the net. Had a lot of bodies crashing, a lot of sticks slashing, but nothing doing.
Louis flips it deep, 29 seconds on the power play, and York is able to clear it the length of the ice. Stopped for Gavin Nelson with 20 left, so time for one more rush. Strothman right through center ice, gets into the attacking zone. Strothman tries to drag through the defense, taken away and cleared out by Anthony Pacenti.
Good penalty.
Pacenti still looks really uncomfortable. I'm watching him behind the play here, and he's favoring that right arm. Pass up to Strothman.
It's tough to see because they have cages on, but you could even see him
wincing a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Power play is up, and that's going to be icing on the Dukes.
Dukes may have iced it right there, but a really nice penalty kill there from York, and no momentum really built up by the Scouts, and that's really one that you needed to at least cut this lead in half with. 15 minutes to go in this game, and you're chasing two. You got to get one.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a 2-goal lead with 15 minutes left. Still plenty of time for the Scouts to get a couple here anyway. And, you know, the offense, as I mentioned, was ticking up in that second period, but nothing really sustained. You know what I mean? Even when the offense was looking better there in the period, it was a clean look and then a whistle and then a clean look. It wasn't, you didn't have any, 3, 4, 5 shots right on goal where you had rebounds and players in front, and so you got to find a way to have some consistent offense here as that's thrown through the paint, comes out the other side.
Talking about Scouts shots, that last one kind of popped up in the air and hit Pacenti in the shoulder as he was standing next to his own net.
Poor kid. He's having himself a night. Campasano's having himself a night, too. He has a goal. Savage pins him up against the wall, and the Scouts will clear it out and go for a change.
A little extra behind the whistle, but
as always, wouldn't have it any other way, right?
Yeah, Savage goes to change.
Puck is stolen by Cal Eggers. Altunian clears it in, but Cal was off sides. A couple minutes gone by here in the period. Dukes 2, Scouts 0.
Scouts have been just as physical as they have been all game, not just with the body, but with the stick, just trying to win 50-50 pucks, knock things loose in the neutral zone. Just hasn't gone their way. They just need a couple of bounces. But as we were also saying, a couple more shots maybe need to be thrown at the net. Second opportunities as well.
Pretzi snakes his way through center ice, gets taken down by Milliman, and it's cleared back to the blue line. Mora gains the red line, throws opposite corners. He takes the bump from Eggers. Anaya running into Mitch Fafinski. Now Fafinski has it low, leaves it for Spano. Jimmy Spano spins at the half wall. He gets double teamed, sweeps it behind the net, off the wall and out. It'll be an icing. No, it'll be an icing on the Scouts with 13:27 left to go.
Shots on goal in favor of the Dukes, 23-22, but we had mentioned the shots on goal earlier in the game that were still somewhat close to each other, and we talk about those high danger chances, and it's not that the York Dukes have had that many more high danger chances. They've just had 2 perfectly placed shots. But if the Scouts want to match that, they're going to have to, as Aaron was saying earlier, get some of those second opportunities, those rebounds, third opportunities. But
you got to get the goalie moving, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's as Marsh makes the save there. I mean, the first save, unless you're, picking top shelf or going bar down or popping the water bottle, goalies are going to make that first save more often than not, right? Unless you beat them clean, they're going to make that first save more often than not. It's usually the rebound or that third attempt or the quote-unquote garbage goal. Like, those are the ones that beat most goalies.
And we've seen the Scouts move that puck east to west in front of the net a couple of times tonight. You talked about those OV office opportunities from some of the wingers, but just not enough speed or precision on those shots in order to fuel the goaltender or get it past him before he's able to slide over. And really, the majority of the opportunities, as we've kind of described there, have been when the Scouts can get set up in the offensive zone. They haven't played off the rush too well, but the problem with playing well once you get set up in the offensive zone is you need that possession.
I thought we might see an arm up go there for a trip, but nothing doing. I think the Scouts were a little bit fortunate there. Catalano spins away from hit number 1, controls the puck. Berrettini to Strothman. Strothman will throw it in with 12:15 left. Pacente along the near side now. Back to the point. Rancourt shot well wide. Berrettini back to the point. Chopped up in the air. Berrettini backhands it deep. Preston Louis just hammers it off the back of the net. Berrettini finds Torelli, who can't control the puck. Berrettini's shot goes wide. Cleared around. Rancourt keeps it in, and now it's cleared out. At least they got some consistent pressure there. Strothman trying to catch York in a line shift, and Levi Brown stops things.
It was a rare on-the-rush shot from the Scouts, but one that's going to earn them a face-off in the offensive zone. And as you said, Aaron, a good shift right there in the offensive zone. You saw a little bit more of that puck control, not a whole lot able to get to the net, but you had the possession. If you get set up, you're going to have another opportunity.
Rancourt not able to keep it in. Racing back for it. Torelli behind his own net. He'll drop it for Jack Rancourt. It's up to Valenti and shoveled into space. Taken there by Sean O'Leary. O'Leary into the glove of Marsh, who will hold on. Logan stopped 24 out of 26 today. It's been a really good year for Logan Marsh. We skimmed over his numbers earlier in the game, but a 2.18 goals against average and about a 93 save percentage. Anytime you're getting those kind of numbers out of your goalie, you're typically going to put together a pretty good record as a team. And Lake Forest with that 13-9-0-1 mark this year.
He's got better numbers than Levi Brown, but Brown has stood the test of the first 2 periods and even through this third period for the York team with some great defense in front of him.
Yeah, he hasn't faced, as we've talked about, a lot of those high danger opportunities, but he stopped the shots that come in, and that's all you ask your goalie to do. Catalano now gets his pocket picked, and Milliman will fire it in. Stop behind the net, played there by Pacente. Out. Hayes throws a bouncing puck in on Marsh, who will drop the mitt with 10:44 left to go in the third period. So this might be it for us with Lake Forest this season. I'm hopeful that we'll get a phone call for the playoffs, depending on what the SHL decides to do. But if this is it, it's been a fun first year here up in Lake Forest. I've enjoyed getting to know these players and watching these games, and hopefully building a relationship with this Lake Forest program. I love hockey at all levels, and this is kind of the we do a lot of youth hockey, right? I mean, we do hockey from 8U all the way up to high school hockey, but this is kind of the first level where it looks like I don't want to say real hockey because that sounds really bad, but you know what I mean? It's more about the team and less about which team has the single best player, which you see a lot at some of the younger stages. Fafinski's shot in and saved by Marsh. Does that make sense, or am I just talking nonsense?
I understand what you're saying. You also have a little bit more of that competitive edge. That one comes up and
takes it in the dome.
Yeah, he headbutted that one like an Andrew
Preston
Shaw.
Louis is feeling something tonight. He has been feisty as he lays another hit right after taking a puck off the helmet. I'm sorry. It was just funny.
He followed that. They usually say follow your shot. I guess in soccer that would be a header, so it would be a shot. It'd be like Andrew Shaw, but
oh boy,
he heads it towards the point defense for York. That was Pretzi at the point, and follows it up by laying him into the glass.
But yeah, no, this has been a fun first season. Obviously, would have been nice to see a few more W's, but
no, I see what you're saying, though. I mean, it's not that this means more, but I mean, there's definitely another competitive edge to some of these games in this league. And not only have we seen it here, we've seen it with Glenbrook North and all the visiting teams that have come in to play against the Scouts as well.
Giveaway there. The shot ramps up off Marsh and into the net. You know, I think when you're at the younger levels, you know, whether it's especially at 8U, you know, the best player on the ice is 100% noticeable every single time he or she is out there.
And usually the difference maker in the game.
Right. You know, in a game like this, the best player on the team may get completely shut down because of the style of defense or whatever that the other team's playing. So it just feels more like pure hockey to me.
There's a couple more stats you can follow, too. Of course, that's the stuff that we read off before the games, and I'm sure both sides are taking note of that. So you know who the best player is. You have a better chance of shutting that person down because you can do a little bit more research. But we've met some great people here as well.
We have, the people in charge of the Lake Forest program, Julie Rancourt, Emily Savage, Steve Sarauer, they've all been fantastic. They put us, we were able to meet some of the people with Glassa during the Pucks and Palms event, and we'll be hopefully doing some work with Glassa during the summer, which I'm really looking forward to. So, it's been a fun, I guess, end of fall, beginning of winter up here in Lake Forest for sure.
Definitely winter with these temperatures.
Yeah,
and this
right.
Snow.
Out to Camposano. Camposano has passion in. I think that caught the post. I think that beat Marsh cleanly and hit that right post, Mike.
I think you're right. It may have just skimmed the post because I believe it still hit the boards behind the net and rung all the way around the corner.
Down to 8:30 left. Pacenti now. He'll wind up for the slap shot that goes well wide. Now getting bumped there is Rancourt. Valenti comes over to help his defenseman behind the net.
Hayes is a big body. He has two scouts tied up with him behind the net, and it looks as though York was going to come out with the puck. They'll still keep it in.
Oh, big hit there. Valenti took a shot in the face, and there's no call. That was high by Anthony Pacenti. Came up right into the head of Valenti, and no call.
When the stick comes that high, I mean, we have the best vantage point there of being in the booth here, but there's got to be some trailing officials that have seen that one.
Yeah, that was a clean shot to the face. Even if it wasn't the stick, both hands came up, and that was a double-fisted jab to the jaw of Stephen Valenti as Marsh has to make the save there with 7.5 minutes left. So yeah, fun year. I'm happy we got an opportunity to do this, and looking forward to hopefully next season, and hopefully we get more hockey this year. I'm hoping we're able to somehow be involved in the SHL playoffs.
Yes, you and I will have more hockey regardless, but
we will.
As you mentioned, it'll be more Central States.
It'll be Central States. It'll be mite hockey. We're doing some other stuff with some of the other high school hockey leagues as well. We've got some all-star games that we're doing. So we're still in full hockey mode here for sure, but out with it is Altunian now. He gets stick-handled. Eggers backhands it through the paint. Now O'Leary off the wall, high up into the air. Spano and Nelson collide. Pretzi clears it in, and it's cleared right back out by the Scouts. Nelson with 7 minutes left. Stick handles through some traffic. Altunian not able to get a lot of that, and it's deflected up into the York bench under 7 minutes left.
York, that puck came into their bench, and their coach is livid at their line right out there, telling them to come over there. But
this is
not really calling a timeout here. So
this is the second time we've seen York, and one thing I've noticed is their head coach is vocal.
Yes,
he is a vocal guy, and animated too. Vocal and animated.
I don't know if he was asking for the officials to come over as well as his line.
They're saying that the face-off should be in the neutral zone, but it was deflected out by York, so it's going in the York defensive zone, I guess?
Yeah. You're not calling a timeout there, so you don't really have that.
Clean face-off win. Esplin shoots it high and wide.
You don't really have the opportunity to call your players over if you're not calling a timeout there, unless you're changing lines.
Well, I think he partially did it in order to get the attention of the linesman, because eventually the linesman had to come over and say, hey, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Behind the nets, Esplin, Robbins, far half wall. Deep, Catalano. Catalano has his stick knocked away from him, and now Shorter out. Shorter to Fafinski, drop pass, Spano up over the net, bounces on top of the net.
It hit the crossbar from on top and found its way back to the end boards.
Goes underneath Shorter's stick. Ooh, icing. Looked like Shorter could have played that in the neutral zone, but it bounced over his stick, and the Scouts are going to get called for icing. 6:11 left in the third. 2-0 Dukes with the lead.
Steve Sauer talking to his top line there right in front of him on the bench. We've got this second unit out here for the Scouts.
Hayes
Strothman
out
for
with
the draw.
Strothman. Yep, Strothman, Altunian, and Berrettini are your trio of Scouts on the ice. Nix to Brown, and Rancourt will shove Brown into the corner, and now Strothman comes over and shoves Nix. Now Strothman with under 6. Pass underneath the stick of Rancourt. There's a giveaway, and Strothman hits Hayes. The two of them get tangled up, and I'm watching their legs. They're both doing it intentionally.
Oh, yes.
They were getting their legs tangled up along the near half wall.
That was the same case in the corner, just the play previously. Rancourt, you see, goes back at it with Hayes.
Yep, again, those two have already gone earlier, as eluding the hit there was William Brown. Almost got sandwiched between a pair of tan jerseys.
I think Louis got a little bit more of his teammate on that one.
Berrettini goes cross-ice Strothman. Strothman to Louis. And Louis continues to just treat his body like it's a wrecking ball here tonight. As he's leaving for his shift change, gets one more hit in as he walks off the ice. Nelson up off the back wall. Pacente. And there's a hit. Pacente's going to go to the box. Yep, late hit there on Valenti. And that's the second time that Pacente and Valenti got together. And this time, Pacente's going to get called for it.
Lasagna.
Mike, you can say
I can say it. I'm Italian.
Yes, you are absolutely Italian.
Arancini and Berrettini and Pacente.
Okay, I get it.
Gnocchi.
I had some of that last night, actually.
Spaghetti.
I had some of that last night. Some gnocchi.
There you go.
Yeah.
Angel
Was
hair.
it last night? Yeah, it was last night.
Cavadel. Mortadell.
Is that cheese? It's cheese, right?
Yeah, I'm just going down all the gabagool.
I love some cheese. I love cheese. Man, when I was a kid, I used to eat
mozzarella.
I used to eat the bricks of cheddar cheese. You go to the grocery store and buy like a brick of cheddar cheese. When I was a kid, I would just eat them. Just, gnaw on it. I love cheese. This puck has cleared the length of the ice. Scouts have a power play here with under 5 minutes left. Must score power play opportunity. Yeah.
Back of the net.
Catalano taking it wide with some speed, throws it through. Nelson Down in the near corner, back to Esplin on the near wall. Catalano tips it through. That shot deflects through by Maricini. Nelson wasn't able to get his stick down on the ice.
Just tied up in front of the crease, but really
Catalano with a pretty spin move. Nelson has the puck. Pretzi slow to get up. Nelson back to the point. Esplin through some traffic. Catalano shoots off the side of the net. Thought that found a hole there, Mike. Nelson trips a player behind the net. No call. Robbins. Maricini throws it behind the net. Comes out the near side. Taken there by Fafinski, who gets railroaded by Nelson and then cleared out by the Dukes.
Good power play thus far for the Scouts. We'll see if they can move up with this second unit now as they change up.
Carter Savage will throw it in deep. Pasquesi will back into the corner to get possession of the puck, get some help. Puck back to the point, and a giveaway. And here comes William Brown.
He's got a man with him.
Yeah, Brown has got Maurer with him. He elects to take the shot, and then Maurer comes in and gives Logan Marsh a little bit of a face wash, an ice bath there, and Carter Savage takes exception to it.
See if we're going to go. Yeah, it looks like Carter Savage is going to head to the box here.
Yeah, I mean, I get why Savage did what he did, right? Like, anytime your goalie gets a snow wash like that, a snow bath, like, you're going to come over and defend him, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
And now we got the clock.
The clock is still moving. They're going to have to reset that.
Yep.
But the last 30, I believe it was at 34 seconds of the power play for the Scouts side of things is going to get negated by a 2-minute power play. Well,
this was
just under 2 for
about 2 or 3 minutes into this period, Mike. Shots were 23-22 in favor of the Dukes. It's now 33-24, so 10 of the last 12 shots have gone to the green and white, and Lake Forest just hasn't been able to muster much offense. They had a good stretch in that second period, couple good shifts here in the third, but the Dukes have held them at bay, and now we're 4 to a side for 29 seconds. Draws one.
I think that should have been 34 seconds and a little bit more time on the actual game clock, but it ran off for both teams, so we'll just play with what we've got.
Comes to center ice. Mason Shorter will go D to D, plays catch with Anthony Pirati. Preston Louie will steal the puck and throw it opposite corner. Ezio Berrettini will go over for it. Ethan Marr will play it. Now Shorter, as York is on the power play now for the next minute and a half. Jack Passion for Campusano takes the shot, and another save made by Marsh.
2:42 to go here. You're going to see a 1 minute and 23-second power play for the York Dukes. And I got to imagine as soon as that ends, you're probably looking at pulling Logan Marsh to get the extra attacker. But you also have to have that sustained pressure and possession.
Yeah, which is something the Scouts have had trouble with. You know what I mean? I think you're at a point where you need to, as soon as you get the puck into the attacking zone, once you're back to 5 to a side, you got to pull the goalie. Whether there's pressure or not, you got to get that sixth skater out there and try to create the pressure with that sixth skater. Here's Shorter taking the shot from the blue line. Robbins will ramp it up into the net.
We haven't seen Coach Steve Saar get too aggressive with it, so I don't imagine even if the Scouts get that offensive zone pressure while still shorthanded, he'd go 5-on-5 with no goaltender. So you got to imagine you got to kill this power play off.
Yeah.
Of course, though, if York scores, that's a 3-0 lead.
It's all a moot point at that point.
Yeah.
It'll be Esplin, and they're going with their best attacking forwards out there. Is you got Robbins and Esplin out there on the PK as they try to generate some offense while shorthanded. Spano. Esplin will take it here. He's got to wait for Robbins to touch up, though, and that lets the Dukes play the puck. We're down to 2:13. Spano. Campusano now through the neutral zone. Gets run into by Nelson. They both go down. Now back to the point. Spano fires the wrist shot through some traffic, in and out of the glove of Marsh. The right pad saved by Marsh. Now he uses the blocker to deflect that one wide. Back to the point, Shorter. Spano now. Spano.
Oh, wow.
Passion, nice pass there from Hayes, and Passion shoots it wide.
Tic-tac-toe box play for York.
Campesano comes out of the corner with the puck. Both Passion and Hayes were knocked down, so no play for Campesano. Hayes right in, a couple of attempts, and it's sticked away by Marsh. Hayes getting into it with Robbins. Spano now winds up, whiffs on the wrist shot. Power plays up, and now the Scouts, Catalano out with it 1-on-4. Catalano toe drags into the corner, and Marsh banging his stick on the ice, trying to figure out what he wants them to do. He's raising his stick in the air, and we got an icing call, and I think that'll be it for Marsh. You would assume with an offensive zone draw here that Marsh will.
Looks like he's staying, actually. Steve Sauer is going to be calling a timeout here. So the head coach, you see his hands. I don't know if the referees are paying attention right now, but anybody with some hockey inclination knows this is a good time to call a timeout.
Well, Marsh is going to the bench here, and
yeah,
once
so
again,
the
York coaching staff wants to have a very loud word with these officials. So we're going to take a break. 1:01 left. Scouts being blanked so far. It's 2-0. All right, everything that's needed to be said has been said. Logan Marsh will indeed be pulled with 61 seconds left. Scouts will throw 6 skaters out there. Esplin, Robbins, Louie, Catalano, Pasquesi, and Rancourt.
They knew they were calling that timeout. They were really lining up to the draw with 4 skaters out there. The power play was over, so they should have had 5. And, of course, Marsh was looking to go to the bench for the 6th. They'll get it now.
York wins the draw. Pasquesi falls down at the point, and that lets York clear it out of the zone. And they're going to kill a lot of time right along the wall there. Pasquesi hacking and whacking, trying to take the puck. And there's the empty netter for York. That is scored. I think that's Sean O'Leary, number 29. Buries the empty netter, and that'll be the exclamation point on this one. York with a 3-0 lead.
Yeah, O'Leary just fires that one from his own blue line, and I believe that just kind of found its way in the middle of the ice into the net. Not the perfectly placed shot, but enough to get it where it needed to go. And typically you're shooting the puck, you're winning the car right there, right? But
that's a good point.
That
was dead center. That was dead center in that net.
That third goal for York, though, is probably enough for O'Leary.
Did you ever see anybody win that?
Live?
No. I mean, I've seen it like on, YouTube clips and stuff.
I think I've seen it on TV. I don't think I've seen it live. No, that'd be something, though. I was at the Blackhawks game last Monday for Taves' return, and Danica Patrick shot the puck. She made it on the first one, didn't make it on the second one.
Well, she's an athlete.
She is.
And I don't care what anybody says.
She's got a little advantage.
If you don't think that stock car drivers are athletes, I recommend getting into a car and trying to drive 500 miles at 170 miles an hour in a circle for 3 hours and see how you're feeling physically when you get out of that car.
Try just staying awake for a lap,
Yeah.
And with all that G-force.
The G-forces, yeah.
Yeah.
So 3-0 here with 26 seconds left. And the Scouts going to drop to 13, 10, 0-1 here today as Torelli continues to just try to move forward. He's cut off by Patrick O'Leary. Eggers, his shot deflects wide with 10. It's right along the near post and down to 5 seconds. York with the win here today will improve to 14-5-0, and for the Scouts, 13-10-0-1. Still in 7th place. They had a couple of points on Glenbrook with a couple of games in hand, so you think that 7th spot is likely where they're going to end up, although they do have 3 more games all on the road as they drop this one 3-0. Well, Mike, it's been a fun year here in Lake Forest. I've enjoyed our time. As we said earlier, we've met some really great people here with the Lake Forest organization, so I want to thank all of them, everybody who has helped, from Jake Marasini's dad to Braden Mills on Varsity Blue. His mom has helped us out a whole lot, so I want to thank everybody who's helped make this process for Mike and I so seamless and fun. Unfortunately, today, York spoils it with a 3-0 win. So that's going to do it. From Lake Forest, from my broadcast partner, Mike Napolitano, my name is Aaron Schellen. Unless we see you in the SHL playoffs, we will talk to you next fall for Lake Forest Scouts hockey. Have a great rest of your weekend. Stay safe.